And the fact that I got to sit down and have a conversation with Socrates. Plato's Republic is one of the most important books ever written in Western civilization. And now, some dude with an Xbox One can participate in that conversation. And that is the coolest thing in the world to me. Hey, welcome everybody back to our Windwaker Let's Play.
All we do now is play this game.
I'm sure, well, to us it's been that we've been playing this game for one day. For our audience, it's probably been like 8 years of us like uploading episodes.
Yeah, we played this entire game in one playthrough.
Yeah, everything that y'all have listened to so far, all 50 episodes have been in one day. We went through, and our mics broke. We bought new mics in that day. We went and watched horror movies over that period of that time. The Skyward Sword HD came out in the course of that day. It's been a long day.
It's been a long 10 minutes. I'll tell you that.
Dude, speaking of that, you know what else came out on that day was the trailer for the new Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Well, apparently it came out like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't know how you missed it. Honestly.
I'm on the Assassin's Creed subreddit. Like I've got the Assassin's Creed YouTubers I watch. I have no clue how I have not seen the trailers for Assassin's Creed Mirage. But let me tell you, I am pumped for that game.
I'm really excited. I didn't really buy the last one, Valhalla.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of mixed things, and more recently they've just kind of been like, this game is really bad.
Yeah.
More recently, so I just never really got into it.
Yeah.
But before that, I've gotten most of the Assassin's Creed games and enjoyed most of them.
Yeah.
I forgot. I got Unity recently.
Really?
Yeah, and even though everybody says it's like garbage, I actually kind of like what they were going for with that game. I think the bugs are the biggest problem because I enjoy that game.
I honestly think I heard a lot about it being bad, and then as I watched more stuff about people who had actually played it, I think the general consensus is not this is a bad game. It's that this game was ruined by bugs, but would have been a good game.
I would 100% agree with that.
I think also playing it today versus playing it way back when, I would go to Tingle's Island and go ahead and get our charts.
Okay, you don't want to get that last one at the bottom?
That's, you can, I don't care. Do it.
That's the trials.
Yeah, this is trials. So
that's try to go for that one?
Whatever. Yeah, do your thing, man.
Try that.
I'm not going to stop you. Nothing is real. Everything is permitted.
I'm playing the game now. You have no say.
What were we saying? The
Unity.
Oh, Unity. Yeah, it was a good game. I think playing it today is way different than playing it back when it came out because one, a lot of the bugs have been fixed. But second of all, because in the context that it came out in, people were burnt out because they were coming out with an Assassin's Creed every single year with only incremental improvements. You know,
if like any improvements at all,
if any whatsoever, you know, and so people were getting burnt out on the formula. Playing it now, it's like I haven't been able to play this game in years.
Yeah,
you know, like you're going back for that formula in a way because all the Assassin's Creed games now are so just drastically different.
Yeah. I think what they've been kind of trying to do recently is just make these big epic games that are just about like the time period they're set in.
Yeah, the Witcher 3 version games.
Yeah, which is like those are good ideas. That could be really cool games, and I think a lot of like some of them are.
Yeah.
But they're not really Assassin's Creed anymore.
Yeah.
Or at least what Assassin's Creed was supposed to be.
Yeah.
And you kind of missed that in the more recent games.
Didn't you say this new one is kind of like going to be going back to the old formula?
Yeah, the creators are saying it's going to be, the whole idea is going to be like a return to form. They're going to ditch all the RPG stuff.
Ooh.
Which I am extremely excited for.
Yeah, me too. That makes me super excited. Like, I'm a pretty big, I stumble to say Assassin's Creed fan. I have played almost all the games and enjoyed them, despite the fact that I'm not necessarily convinced that they're actually like they're not The Legend of Zelda or Mario.
Yeah, I mean, they're not like the best of the best or anything.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to go from the rock, but I'm sure you can go from there too.
I think this might be a little better, actually.
Okay, perfect. Like, I don't know. The whole, like, we were just talking about, like, the icons, and it's just doing a to-do list of going through icons to finish the games, and a whole bunch of going up to towers to get all your icons, and it's a very truncated version of exploration that isn't as good as, like, Breath of the Wild or The Witcher 3 or something.
Oh, of course not. I'm a really big fan of the Far Cry series, which is also made by
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft.
Ooby Dooby.
They make games that I like, but I don't like love.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy the concept, but if I play it too much, it kind of gets boring because they've been using the same formula for like 10 years now.
Yeah.
Because they kind of figured something out a while ago, and they're like, this works. Let's do like a different version of this game.
Yeah.
Every installment.
But just because this worked in 2010 doesn't mean it's up to date with 2000.
I mean, you can feel the age in the games now. It's like Like I'm playing Far Cry 6 right now, and I am having a lot of fun with it. But it's clearly like Far Cry 3 was like the big one that people really really liked when it came out.
Yeah,
and it's like this hasn't really like moved forward that much since that game. Like it still has like very similar mechanics to like a game that came out in like 2012.
Yeah, well, like so I started with Assassin's Creed 3, played 4 Unity, 4 Syndicate. Gosh, what all have I played? I started there, and then I went back, and I played 1, didn't like it. And then I just this year finally played the Ezio trilogy, and I was like, whoa, Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood are incredible games. And we haven't really improved that much since then, unless you include the ship from Assassin's Creed 4, you know?
Yeah, craziest thing in the world, I never played the Ezio games.
Yeah.
I started playing in 3, and after that, I played most of them. I didn't play Syndicate. I wasn't gonna get Origins. I mean, I got Origins. I wasn't gonna get Odyssey, but I got it as a gift, and I decided to play it. But there's just been a lot of like kind of mediocrity, I think.
Yeah.
In the series.
Yeah.
Like it's. I really liked 4 a lot.
Yeah.
And other than that, they've kind of been like, okay. I also, actually, I really like Origins a lot. Origins was fun.
There's just this sense over at Ubisoft that I get the sense of like, where Nintendo is like, we must create the greatest experience and the newest experience with every installment of every game, sometimes to their detriment, where it's like, therefore we're going to force in this stupid mechanic, or we refuse to, you know, bring back formulas from games that were successful, you know. Yeah. But it's always going to be, you can tell, a very high-quality game, even if you don't like the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason that they keep on, like, delaying it, like, 7 years every time.
But with Assassin's Creed and with Ubisoft in general, I just get the sense of there's this idea of good enough.
Yeah.
And they're always good enough.
It's disappointing because usually, like, the concepts for their games are so good.
Yeah.
And there's, like, clearly a lot put into, like, making like the open world like so like detailed and like that kind of thing, like with like the time period and everything. There's like so much effort put into that, and you can like it pays off, and it's so cool. But then you like go around and you're just like looking for treasure chests that are marked on your map the whole time, and it's
so
just,
you can get like 200 pounds, you know, sterling or like, you know, your whatever francs, whatever.
Yeah, it's just boring, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, at least it gets boring after a while.
It's very relaxing for me. Like, this is why I say, I don't know how to put it. I love putting in a podcast and just going through an Assassin's Creed game with my music off and just screwing around and getting chests. I do that for hours.
You shouldn't want to have to do that, though, in a video game.
Well, I want to be clear. I'm not saying that it's good. I'm saying that it's so insanely brain dead that it lets me turn my brain off and relax. And I like them for that. But I couldn't do that with a Zelda game, like I'm going to be way more involved and interested in what's going on the screen. But I say all that to say this. I really did enjoy the Ezio trilogy. I have played most of the classic. The only classic Assassin's Creed games that I haven't played is Unity. And then the only modern one that I haven't played is Valhalla. Right now, I am playing Rogue. And once I've beaten Rogue, I will have beaten all the classic Assassin's Creed games other than Unity. And 1. But it's, I don't know. I appreciate what they were trying to do by changing the formula with the RPG thing, but they lost, whenever you got to the point that you couldn't just kill someone in one stab, or these power levels, it's like, I'm not wanting to play Dragon Ball Z, I'm wanting to play Assassin's Creed, there's a certain point where they kind of lost themselves, and I enjoy those games for what they are. Like, I love Greek mythology and Greek history and Greek philosophy. And the fact that I got to sit down and have a conversation with Socrates is like a top 10 best gaming experiences of my life.
Do you think it was done well?
Yes.
Really?
I don't know
anything about it, but usually I kind of have this thing with Assassin's Creed that, like, usually the characters are kind of like half-baked.
Yeah, I don't know. With Socrates, they really nailed it. I'll put it like this. So they actually, from what I can tell, took dialogue from Plato's dialogues where Socrates has these conversations, and they incorporated that dialogue into the conversations that you can now go through in a skill tree and respond to. So it really does feel like you get to be a part of one of the most important... Like, Plato's Republic is one of the most important books ever written in Western civilization. Mm-hmm. And now... some dude with an Xbox One can participate in that conversation. And that is the coolest thing in the world to me.
I think it's... I don't know how to put it. I think it's cool of the idea that, like, you can, like, someone, like, put that in a video game. I also don't think if it's like, the most revolutionary thing in the world. Like, it wasn't done, like, incredibly or anything. Like, it's kind of just, like... I don't know. I think, like, all of the RPG elements of that game specifically are pretty, like, by the books, like, standard.
Yeah.
It doesn't really do anything.
I agree. But I still had fun with it. But I had fun with it, I felt like, not because of the game, but because of the setting. And if you like Greek history, if you like Greek stuff like I do, that game really does an amazing job at celebrating and teaching you, and I don't know how to put it. It's like everything that's been in my head realized for the first time. The game mechanics, not so much.
Yeah.
But the actual setting was done so well that it honestly compensates for subpar game mechanics, just to be honest with you, in my opinion. I think that if you're not interested in that stuff, that the game's probably not going to have that effect.
Well, for me... Odyssey, it was not... I don't think the game is, like, very Assassin's Creed, and it's not very good in general, but it's so fun.
Yeah.
For some reason, it was just really fun to play that game.
It's more than the sum of its parts.
Yeah. Like, going around just Greece is just really fun. I think, like, Greece is just so beautiful. And, all the Spartan stuff that you can do. Which, like, I don't know if they were going for that, but, I think there's enjoyment to be had in that game.
Someone was involved in that game who was really passionate about what they were doing, because you can just, I don't know, there's little touches. Like, the whole opening sequence being a microcosm of the Odyssey by Homer, where you have to go and piss off a Cyclops in order to get to the island of Ithaca. Like, it's just like...
I think I remember that one, yeah.
It's so cool. And like all of the legendary stuff, like, is all out on the outer skirts of the world, so it feels like society is separated from it. I don't know how to put it. They just really, really, whoever was in charge of that part of the game nailed it. And then there was a whole different group of people who was in charge of the game mechanics, and they were like, let's just copy and paste,
What's your thoughts on Origins?
So I'm not a big I'm just not interested in ancient Egypt in the same way as I am ancient Greece. So going into it, I was not expecting to like it because it wasn't Assassin's Creed and it wasn't in a setting I was interested in. And it won me over.
It did?
The story of Bayek wanting to avenge his son. Maybe it's because I was getting to the my wife was pregnant while I was playing that game.
Yeah.
So maybe that just resonated with me differently. And then also including I didn't know that it was set during the Roman occupation of Egypt, so there was a lot of Roman stuff going on, and I love that part of it. So the central story, it really, I don't like it as much as Odyssey because there's just no way that you're going to get me to love something more than pirates and ancient Greeks. But for what it is, I really ended up enjoying it.
Okay. I didn't know that was your opinion on that.
Yeah.
I really like that game a lot. That's probably my favorite of the new ones. I think that game was just handled the best. Mm-hmm. It was just handled with the most care.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. It was handled with the most care.
Yeah. And I don't think introducing the RPG stuff was a good decision, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think it was worth it with what it adds to the games, and the whole you have to be a certain level to assassinate people is just absurd to me.
Oh, that is ridiculous.
I hate that.
I hate that as well. But there was a lot of good stuff in it too.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff.
I really liked the thing that you can do where you can set a plague on a place and that you can get someone sick and you can make the sickness spread through an entire fortress. I thought that was a really cool mechanic. But
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And that's my favorite parts of these games is creative ways to take down fortresses with the berserk darts or the plague I was just describing, or in Assassin's Creed 3 I used to hang out in the woods and set up bear traps and mines and then go up in a tree and wait for one of those little British convoys to come through. Grab the captain with my rope dart and hang him, for making the rest of the guys freak out, and then stand there as they come towards me and get blown up by the mines and the bear traps.
Yeah.
So I love that part of the games. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, I'm really excited about this new Assassin's Creed game going back to the old formula. I think that what Assassin's Creed should do is they should become like The Legend of Zelda. The Legend of Zelda has top-down Zelda, and it has 3D Zelda. Mario's like this too. There's 2D Mario and 3D Mario. You know?
Yeah.
I think that they should have Assassin's Creed RPG and Assassin's Creed Classic, however you would call those two franchises. And keep developing both formulas and make them more interesting.
I think they want to make games about the time periods that are big RPG type stuff, and I'm all for that. I think the fact that they have to tie it to an Assassin's Creed game is the weakness.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're not Assassin's Creed games at the core.
Yeah,
they always try to tie it in with the story in some way.
Yeah. I think I would prefer if they did a history, I don't know, Ubisoft History Edition or whatever, and then also had Assassin's Creed as a separate thing. I would prefer that, but with where they're at now, I would also be okay if they just diversified it.
Yeah.
And made two different types of games that were all part of the same franchise.
Yeah, I would be fine with that, but I also think they're making that pirate game, right?
Sea of Thieves?
Yeah.
No, wait, it's the other one.
I honestly don't even know what it's called.
Yep.
It's based on Assassin's Creed 4.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way to go because it seems like Assassin's Creed 4 one of the biggest parts that was not great about it was the stuff that tied it to Assassin's Creed.
Yes.
But all the other pirate stuff is so good in that game.
Well, it's like in Assassin's Creed 4, everything that I hated was like, well, there's nowhere to really climb that's interesting. And I hate these missions where I have to follow someone and listen. Those are awful.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, those are the Assassin's Creed bits of that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was still really, really good. I mean, Assassin's Creed 4 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey are my two favorite Assassin's Creed games.
Okay. I think they're made by the same team, honestly.
They are. So
I don't know how much I want it, like, this new game. I don't know if, like, I want it to be like the original or not, because I've actually never played the original. Mm-hmm. And I've heard actually, like, mixed things about it.
I've played it, and I did not like it at all. I actively disliked that game.
I've heard people that really like it a lot, and I've heard people that are more on that like do not like it at all.
Everything that's good about Assassin's Creed 1 is in Assassin's Creed 2. Plus, but everything in Assassin's Creed 2 has all these other things that are so much better. So, it's I don't know. I went into the Ezio trilogy expecting to kind of feel like, okay, this will be another by the numbers, but I don't know how to put it, but you can tell that the team that made Assassin's Creed 2 and 3, Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood were far more passionate than, like, even if it was the same team, they were more passionate about that game than almost any other game in the series.
Yeah.
Possibly, and this might be a hot take, that might even possibly be true of 4. Like, the people who made 2 and 3 really felt like they were trying to do something new and incredible in a way that the other ones weren't.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry to wrap this up now, but we have run out of time, so we'll see you guys as Christian continues his way through the pit of 1,000 trials, or whatever it's called.
We gotta go. Gotta end it now.
You know what to do.
And if you don't, ask someone.